So, introduction to you. So, who are you?
I'm Ruth Denyer. I look after production safety at Netflix in EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East and Africa, for those people who don't work in a regionalised organisation. And I've been doing safety for a very long time now.
So, we met when you were on ITV.
Yep.
Very brief history then. So, how did you get to ITV? So I know the story from ITV to Netflix. I don't really know the story to ITV.
So I did my first degree, my only degree, not my first degree. My degree.
One of one.
One of my one degrees, I did a degree in occupational health and safety. So 3 years studying health and safety management, which is fascinating. And I graduated in 1997. And the jobs that were around were mainly like construction, because that's what's like safety and construction is something you kind of understand. Yeah. And I knew that wasn't going to be for me. And so I was like, what do I want to do? And I did a bit of waitressing and did a bit of this, that, the other. And then I saw a job advertised for the National Theatre, the safety advisor, which I never knew theatres really had safety advisors. I was like, that is my job. Yeah. And I luckily got the job. So that was my first job. And then I've done a couple of other things. I did a bit at the Princess Trust. I did a bit at KPMG. And then I went to ITV and I was there for 17 years. And I started there as their safety manager looking after London and the South because they just merged. LWT had merged with Granada and it was a big merger. And then and 17 years later, I was looking after all risk for the ITV PLC group.
And then that went over to Netflix then in 2021?
2020, mid-COVID. Because when you've been somewhere 17 years and you do safety, the moment to move is in the middle of a global pandemic.
So is your name Dirt?
I did 6 months notice.
Yeah,
so.
Okay. So you, of all my clients, all right, and I'm going to call you a client because just for the purposes of this, but I would say friend, right? And I do think that it's a really nice community, and we've been Stuart talking a lot about how it's really weird to say it's a good chance for me to catch up with clients because I genuinely don't feel, especially last night, that's definitely not.
It's your safety friends.
It's my safety friends.
That's what my husband calls people.
Safety friends. I like it. I like it. They don't make me feel very safe. No. But I'd say that you're quite innovative in your approach, and I suppose the way that we met was about that. You know, we like to use that line, our clients do think differently, and that was kind of really brought on from the first conversations that we had. Is that something that has always been there, or was it?
I don't know. I think I'm always curious about how we can do stuff better. I genuinely think that studying the topic of safety management for 3 years puts you in a different position when you start to think about safety as a kind of a system rather than as the operational tasks we do. I think it gives you a different mindset. But I can remember in probably like 2010, 2012, having the big spreadsheet and trying to think about how we comply the different policies we've got and forms we've got. And our job was writing policies, doing forms. And I think and I know it was like when Safety Differently came about and people started talking about safety different. I just started thinking there's more to learn and there's more ways we can do things better.
Yeah.
And I also think being surrounded by a creative industry, like stuff like training, you can't help but go, couldn't we do better? Like if we really believe in the stuff we're trying to do, couldn't we do better? And so I think I've just got this innate curiosity and I've found that there's so much interesting stuff out there that we can learn from.
Yeah. Well, I think we went in, so we did the Empathy project in ITV, which was a 17-minute VR film. And we've done The Lifesavers now in Netflix, which has been amazing. Really and loved working on that project. That was about a year ago now. We did finish the last one of those.
Yeah,
it's been going for a bit.
Out there, safersets.com.
And it's been really, I love your team because your team including yourself, love to tell people that I'm good, which is wonderful. So we come to these conferences and everyone sells for me. It's really lovely.
It's a virtuous circle.
Yes, it's brilliant. But there's a lot of good people in this community that seem to be sort of gravitating together, thinking differently, questioning, and that curiosity, as Anna likes to talk about, seems to be rife. Curiosity is rife in the community. Yeah. And we've got some really interesting speakers that I feel like maybe you had some influence in some of the speakers at this event for the last couple of years.
I definitely like to find people that I think I'd just really love to learn more from them. And then I'll share those insights quite readily with Paul and Katie and Anna and say, like, these are people I'd love to hear speak. I have an absolutely unhealthy addiction to Radio 4. So what you'll notice is quite a few of the speakers here have a link back. So Sabrina, who spoke, who's the firefighter, which was phenomenal. She's been on my list of people I want to hear speak since I heard her on Desert Island Discs in 2019. Oh, wow. And it's a phenomenal episode. And I was just like, I want to hear her. And I read her book. And then I've just told everybody I know that I want to hear. And eventually someone's managed to book her somewhere where I got to hear her speak.
So your relationship with Paul and Katie, though, and this event does it go pre-2019? So we met in 2019. But
probably around then. I went to one of these and they've always felt a bit different. And certainly what Paul and Katie are trying to do with them feels different. And then also now having Anna involved in these. But the sense of community and the sense of giving people information but not telling them how to do their job. Yeah. I really like that, because sometimes, like, if you want to be curious about stuff, maybe there's not a clear answer, but there's stuff that you thread together and you work out what your answer is, because nobody's going to tell you exactly how to do your job. Otherwise, we'd all be out of a job.
So what does safety look like in Netflix?
So depending on what part of Netflix, my team and I are responsible for the production side of Netflix. So the making of the content that goes onto the platform, and content is a word that a lot of people don't like in the group. So TV production, film production. And our role is really to help and enable people to plan for and manage the risks, understand them, and then kind of understand what we're doing in pursuit of content and give visibility across the organization. But also thinking about it across countries. And that's what I found really interesting at Netflix. We've done a lot more of, is thinking about what safety looks like in production in Egypt versus France versus the UK versus Spain. And it's very different.
Yeah.
And we think a lot about the capacity to produce content safely and understand what risks there actually are on set. And you'll know from working with the lifesavers with us.
Yeah.
It's often when the cameras aren't rolling and people tend to focus on the stunts and special effects because they're the exciting things. But actually, we build huge sets. People use saws all the time. So it's sometimes the stuff that you wouldn't expect.
I suppose you have less control. And so when we're talking to someone like Yonder, where they have sites all over the world, there is an element of control to that. You're building something physical that is going to exist. You can plan that, deal with that, whereas you're either in studios or, could be any random location, really. So it's
and also it's a different thing. So arguably a data center is a data center. It's trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
What content is trying to do is entertain people.
Yeah.
And what that looks like will be very dependent on what you're making and where you're making it, all the activities, all the sets. So it's constantly variable. And because we work with production companies across most of Europe making the content, we've also got that piece where we're in, I hate the word value chain, supply chain. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like we're genuine partnership, but you have to be mindful of that you're not actively, directly in charge of the activity. You're getting involved, but you want to step. And it's not about liability all the time. It's about making sure you're enabling people to manage the risks themselves.
I think Netflix probably have a reasonably good reputation for safety. I don't think that's, and you've had some pretty big shows this year that are, Adolescence being a perfect example of something that, you're not just talking viral. That was a
phenomenal piece of content.
Yeah, and I think there's interesting, and that's where my kind of focus comes in, is that kind of content. I feel like that is an education piece, that is a training piece, it may not give you the answers of what to do.